we're constantly hearing the excuse of a fighter fighting another fighter, and they're saying he is a credible opponent. Credible. Well, how the fuck do you make a fighter credible? Let's talk.
Straighter, not a roundhouse right hand.
And that's what we've been talking about. The straight shot is the one where he gets leverage on it.
I don't want to kill
Pull
somebody
back
for
a little bit.
seconds.
Nah, I want a body on my record.
Now, I want to see you fight motherfuckers. I do. All right? I'm with you. I'm with you. As long as you're trying to fight the great, the best competition.
Welcome to the graveyard. Click the link if you dare to. Bury you alive, I'm prepared to. Welcome to the graveyard. You get your sources from clowns, so when you come around, we don't hear you. Welcome to the graveyard. Click the link if you dare to. Bury you alive, I'm prepared to. Welcome to the graveyard. You get your sources from clowns, so when you come around, we don't hear you. Yo, it's the best, fight the best. If you ain't with the moto, just click the link, bitch, and get buried like the rest. It ain't gon' work how you want it. These trolls already tried, too many come but don't leave. So if you hear, you gotta die. I'm spitting straight facts. These bitches crying cause they hate that. The LDBC's the top topic, bitch, hate that. We the ones that bring the truth to these fans. So while you hate, I'ma laugh and keep counting these bands. Welcome to the graveyard. Click the link, get the dance. Bury you alive, I'm prepared to. Welcome to the graveyard. You get your sources from clowns, so when you come around, we don't hear you. Welcome to the graveyard. Click the link if you dare to. Bury you alive, I'm prepared to. Welcome to the graveyard. You get your sources from clowns, so when you come around, we don't hear you.
Welcome to the graveyard.
Credible opponents. That is what people have been using to hate, to discredit, to protect, to big up whatever fighter they want, they deem necessary. Credible opponents. Well, let's look at the definition of credible. Able to be believed, convincing, acceptable, trustworthy, reliable, dependable, sure, good, valid, capable of persuading people that something will happen or be successful. A credible threat. Insanity should have been added to that. Opinionated should have been added to that. Those two things should have been added. Oh, why BFTB? Because all you just did is make up a fucking your own opinion on a specific fighter being credible, which is a whole bunch of other opinions. There is one thing that makes a fighter credible. Just one. His motherfucking resume. That is the only thing that makes a fighter credible. Your resume. Yes. Your resume makes you credible. Not your skill set. Not what you bring to the table. Your resume. You can be the bummest of horrible persons. Your boxing record can be absolutely a whole bunch of fucking killers on it, and your skill set is trash. But you have all victories. Yeah, you're doing something right. Whatever it is, I don't give a fuck. You're doing something. You got a whole bunch of motherfuckers who will come in here and shitting on Deontay Wilder on a daily basis. Oh, Wilder's garbage. He's trash. He's garbage. He really is trash. He can't box. He can't box. He can't box. Yeah, but he was undefeated. And he only lost to one person. Trash, garbage, horrible, can't box. But he has one person who has beaten him. Just one. The best heavyweight in the world. Yeah, the best one. And that dude had to cheat him. So he's the best standard boxer. He might not be the best overall boxer, but he's the best standard boxer. If Tyson Fury was the same size as somebody else or other fighters, he'd be getting knocked the fuck out. He's got the height and size advantage over everybody. He'd be getting fucked up. All right, but he isn't. He's got that advantage, so it is what it is. But that's the only person that beat Deontay. Oh, Wilder can't box. So, okay, bro, there's other fighters who have better skill sets than Deontay Wilder and didn't make the Olympics. So he must be doing something better than them. There's other fighters who have a better skill set than Deontay Wilder and lost immediately in the professionals. So he must be doing something better than them and lost to a fucking bums. Two bums. Yeah. Two garbage-ass fighters. So there must be something about him that is better than other people. Must be. Beating him propelled Tyson Fury to the heights that Fury is at right now. So Wilder must have been something. Must have been something. Yeah, he must have something. I don't give a fuck if you niggas say he can't box. I do not care. Do not care. Floyd Mayweather could box, and y'all shitted on him because he didn't give you knockouts. Wilder gave you knockouts, and you shitted on him because he can't box. Or that's your excuse, he can't, because he can box. But your excuse is he can't box. Wilder can't box, so, you know, that's why I don't like him. He's garbage. He can't box. But you bought his pay-per-view. You bought his pay-per-view, but he can't box. But Terrence Crawford can box, and you don't buy his pay-per-views. Let that sink in. Let that sink in deep, real deep, underneath that third rib right there. Let it sink in real deep. Wilder can't box is what y'all say. He's a bum, he's garbage, he's trash. But you buy his pay-per-views. You're all over his IG. You're all on his social media like a motherfucker. Terrence Crawford can box, and you don't buy his pay-per-views. And cry like bitches about his accolades. Fucking insanity, bro. Absolutely hilarious shit to me. Motherfucking hilarious. Anthony Joshua can box. Yeah. Went to America and did how many views? How many views did he do in America? Not very many. Less than Wilder. Facts. Facts. Tyson Fury can box. How many did he do? How many views did he do without Deontay Wilder? How many did he fight against Otterbach? What is it? 4,000? 3,000? 3,000 tickets sold. How many people watched it? I'm just saying. I'm just asking. Just asking. Whatever. What makes a fighter credible is their resume. Who they beat. Their resume makes them credible. Yeah, if you have a fighter at welterweight who is undefeated, who was 52-0 with 40 knockouts. 52-0 with 40 knockouts. You have another fighter who is 30-2. But the fighter who is 30-2 he only lost one time to the same fighter. Right? That fighter that's 30-2 beat Sean Porter. He beat Danny Garcia, beat Errol Spence, beat Jerome Boots Ennis, beat Keith Thurman, lost twice to Speedy Rashidi Ellis, but beat all of those guys and lost to Speedy Rashidi Ellis early in his career. This is an imaginary fighter. Imaginary. In his first 5 fights, he fought Speedy Rashidi Ellis twice in his first 5 fights. And he lost to Speedy Rashidi both times. He kept going, kept fighting. He is now 30-2. He has beaten Errol Spence. He has beaten Jerome Boots Ennis. He has beaten Virgil Ortiz. He has beaten Keith Thurman. He beaten Danny Garcia. Beat Sean Porter. The only fighter he hasn't beaten is the only fighter he hasn't fought. That's Terrence Crawford. 50-0 with 40 knockouts. 51-0 with 40 knockouts. He's knocked out the likes of Michael Slim Husaski, McKinnis Uverfloff, Flem Fluker, Fish Grease, Fatback Ham Skillet, Skateboard Jim Bob Joe Bubble Yum. Those are his last 5. And he just keeps knocking him out. You line him up, he knocks him out. You line him up, Terrence Crawford is knocking him out. Keyboard Kim, you know what I'm saying? Monitor Mike, you line him up, he's knocking him out. Super Speaker Steve, just destroying him. Left and right, pure knockouts. They don't make it out the 9th round. He's going to the 9th for some of these guys. Going to the 9th. So y'all gonna tell me that Super Speaker Steve is a better victory than this imaginary fighter beating Errol Spence and Boots Oh, listen, man, Terrence Crawford, man. Listen, man, Terrence Crawford, he just beat Hickory Hat Heavy Jim. He beat Hickory Hat Heavy Jim. That's who he just beat. Knocked him out. Hickory Hat's a good name. Yeah, he's a good name, man. Hickory Hat's a good name. You know what I'm saying? That's a good. Hickory Hat was undefeated. He was 25-0. And all Hickory Hat have on there is Super Speaker Steve in a trilogy. You know what I'm saying? Buttermilk Biscuit Bob. He done fought this nigga 5 times. So let me guess, Terrence Crawford, because he's 51-0 with 40 knockouts, he's better than this imaginary fighter that beat EJ, that beat Boots, that beat Virgil, that beat motherfucking Danny Garcia, that beat Sean Porter, that beat Keith Thurman, that beat Ugas. He beat all those guys. You know what I'm saying? He beat them all. And he beat them all. I'm talking recently, like in the past 5 years. The past 4 or 5 years, he beat all those guys. Terrence Crawford has had Hickory Hat Steve, you know what I'm saying? Motherfucking Big Boot Bob, you know what I'm saying? And he beat Big Boot Bob, stopped him. Stopped Big Boot Bob, you know what I'm saying, in devastating fashion. Nobody has ever knocked out Big Boot Bob better than what Terrence Crawford did. As a matter of fact, no one's never knocked him out ever in his life. He's never been knocked out. Never. But he fought Mangy Mustache Mike, you know what I'm saying? That's who Big Boot Bob fought. You know what I'm saying? And he fought him like 5 times. And, 2 of those fights were debatable. It was draws. But he don't got no loss. You're telling me that Terrence Crawford is credible. Big Boot Bob is credible. Mangy Mustache Mike, credible. No. Your credibility, your believability of you being able to beat fighters is based on your resume. That is the only thing it's based on. That's it. That's the reason why BF is always asking people, well, who's the best? Who are the best fighters in the welterweight division? And people are now, they're too scared to mention any other name except for Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. Before, they was always mentioning them all. Listen, man, Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, Sean Porter, Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford, Ugas, Speedy Rod. Yeah, those are all the best. Virgil Ortiz, those were all the best Boots. Those were all the best ones. Until Errol Spence started to beat them. Yeah, when Errol Spence started to drop those names, he started to drop those names started that we mentioned, all of a sudden they're getting X'd off. All of a sudden now it's, oh, listen, man, Danny Garcia's not elite. Danny Garcia's garbage. Sean Porter is garbage, man. Sean Porter ain't good. Sean Porter lost to all the best competition. He ain't even good. Sean Porter's not good. Man, really, to me, I think Sean Porter beat him, man. In my opinion, Sean Porter beat him. In my opinion, I think Sean Porter beat him. To me, you know what I'm saying? And Sean Porter ain't even that good, man. Sean Porter's garbage. He's trash, blah, blah. You guys do realize that you guys are shitting on Terrence Crawford yourselves? Y'all are. You guys have realized y'all shitting on fighters like Anthony Joshua yourselves? You're shitting on these fighters that y'all use, Lomachenkos. Y'all are shitting them yourself. Oh, man, Nakatani Tuki. Man, Teofimo knocked Nakatani Tuki. Well, Nakatani Tuki, actually, I don't know, man. Nakatani Tuki, he looked pretty good. Nakatani Tuki, Verdejo was knocking Tuki. Man, he should have knocked him out. He should have stopped him. Tuki not even good. Hey, garbage, man. Then Lomachenko fights him, and all of a sudden, he's the greatest. Y'all down and discredit these guys. Y'all shit on these guys until your favorite fights them. But all the fighters that you named that are the best, the ones that y'all named, like when y'all was saying, Wilder will never fight Ortiz. Ortiz is a Cuban southpaw. He's so good. There's no way Wilder fight him. No way. Wilder's garbage. He's a bum. He's trash. Wilder will never fight him. Wilder's garbage. Wilder, he'll never fight. Wilder will never. Wilder will never. And then when he fought him, all of a sudden, his age came into play. Something that y'all never talked about. Never. Not one time that anybody mentioned Luis Ortiz's age. Never once. Not when he was with Golden Boy. Not when he was with Matchroom. He didn't mention his age at all. Until he fought Wilder. And then all of a sudden, his age came into play. All of a sudden. Oh, man, listen, man. Ortiz is 95 years old. If he wasn't that old, it would probably be a different fight. But you wasn't saying that before the fight. You were saying Wilder will never fight Ortiz because Ortiz is too dangerous and Wilder don't fight dangerous opponents. That's what y'all were saying. But it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. But it doesn't matter to y'all because y'all going to say what you want to say. The bottom line is it does matter to real boxing pundits, to real boxing fans. It does matter because they know that Ortiz was a credible opponent. I know that. No one did to Brian Jennings what he did. Nobody. He was the mandatory to Vladimir Klitschko, and Vladimir didn't try to fight him. He was the mandatory to Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury didn't want to fight him. Mandatory to Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua didn't want to fight him. Says something. Says something. Your resume says it all. Your resume. Who you fought and who didn't want to be on your resume. Who you didn't fight. Who refused to be on your resume. Who refused. Yeah, it's not hard to figure out who refused. Oh, man, these guys priced themselves out. Man, they didn't want to fight no Anthony Joshua, man. Deontay Wilder priced himself out, although he agreed to 15 flat and go to the UK, which is why y'all don't say Wilder priced himself out. That's why. That's why you don't say Wilder priced himself out. You don't say that at all. You do not say that. Y'all say other things. Oh, he's a bum, he's garbage, he's trash, you can't do this, you can't do that. Yeah. Y'all don't even talk about Lomachenko at all when it comes to Tank Davis. At all. Y'all don't talk about Teofimo Lopez when it comes to Devin Haney. You don't talk about when it comes to Cam Bussy. Oh, Cam Bussy, man, he's the A-side. He's the A-side. Although Devin conceded the A-side to him and agreed to all of his terms. Now motherfuckers like, oh, DAZN doesn't believe in him. That's your excuse now. DAZN doesn't believe in him. Wow. That's where you've gone? DAZN doesn't believe in Devin? Oh, yeah, they believe in Ryan Garcia, don't believe in Devin. Based on what? Oh, the amount of subscriptions that Ryan brings in. What subscriptions? What's the amount? What's the number? You have no idea. Your opponents is what makes you credible. The people who avoid you is what makes you credible. Devin Haney is more credible off the people who ducked him than the people who is fighting him. Facts. He is more credible that he was Lomachenko's mandatory, and Lomachenko asked for the franchise belt so he didn't have to fight him. He's more credible because as the franchise champion that Teofimo was, he could have mandated Devin and said it his own words, he's going to mandate him, and then refused. Refused. He's more credible because he got in the ring with Ryan Garcia and said, fight me, dude. You're my mandatory, fight me. And Ryan Garcia said, hey, listen, man, I'm fighting Gandhi, Jesus, Moses, Muhammad, Abraham Lincoln, and after those guys, then I might come back and fight you. But I'll knock you out. He's more credible off the motherfuckers that ducked him. He's more credible that he had to pay Jojo Diaz more than any other fucking fighter got. Any one of them. He paid him more than fucking Loma got and Comey. He paid him more than motherfucking Pitbull Cruz got to fight Tank Davis. Facts. Jojo Diaz made more than all those guys. He made more than all of them. Devin had to pay this man more than all of those guys just to fight his fucking mandatory. Yeah. Devin's credibility is because the WBC made him and him alone the only one. You have two mandatories. You have two. And both of them ducked him. Javier Fortuna, Ryan Garcia. Both ducked him. Yeah. You have two mandatories. Neither one of them wanted to fight. Lomachenko didn't want to fight. Oh, he's got his credibility because, okay, bro, I'll fight Gary Russell. That fell through. Not going to it. Okay, well, I'll fight Mikey Garcia. That fell through. Mikey says, oh, I thought he was playing. I'll fight Richard Comey. That fell through. I'll fight Robert Easter. That fell through. I'll fight Tank Davis. That fell through. He's more credible off of the fighters who refuse to be on his resume. Refuse. Don't give a fuck about the outcome. So I know you're going to be, oh, this guy will knock Devin out. He'll knock Devin out. He'll do this to Devin. He'll do this. Well, they didn't. They didn't. Devin Haney's credibility, majority of it, is coming from the fighters who refuse to fight him. Refuse. Mr. Gary Russell's credibility, a lot of it's coming from fighters who refuse to fight him too. Tank Davis, you can fight Gary Russell. Leo Santa Cruz, Carl Frampton, you can fight Gary Russell. Lomachenko, you can fight Gary Russell in a rematch. Those are all fights that can happen. and haven't. Gary Russell's credibility, a lot of it comes from fighters who refuse to fight him. Refuse. They refuse to be on his resume. But your resume is what makes you. Jerron Boots Ennis hasn't beaten nobody. Hasn't beaten anybody. Thomas Delorme and Sergey Lipinets ain't shit. He is more known, he is more looked at from the fighters who refuse to be on his resume. Now, it's not the same with a Devin and a Gary, because Thomas Delorme and Sergey Lipinets are named, they're known, they're gatekeepers or former champions, which they were. You know what I'm saying? But their heyday is past them. But they're still names. It's like beating Mike Tyson, still a name. And he destroyed them both. You know what I'm saying? So he's getting credibility from those fighters that he destroyed. He gets credibility. But it's more from the fact that you're about to be Errol Spence's mandatory. It's more from the fact that right now you can fight Terrence Crawford, and Terrence Crawford is refusing to fight you right now. It's more from the fact that you've been calling for Virgil Ortiz, who said he needed 48 fucking months to be ready for you. And then his team came back and lied and said, oh man, he'll never mention, Boots don't never mention Virgil Ortiz's name. He don't never mention his name. Like what? It's in every fucking interview. Every interview he's mentioned this man's name. In every interview. And then he came back immediately after that and was saying, if I don't mention your name, I'm mentioning it now then. You say I don't mention your name, I mention it all the time. I'm mentioning it now. What's up? And still nothing. Motherfuckers fighting McKinson. Yeah, that's where a lot of his credibility is coming from. Terrence Crawford's credibility is not coming from his resume. Terrence Crawford's credibility is coming from, well, it's partially the resume of putting Kell Brook and Sean Porter on there. That those fights matter, right, for his credibility. But majority of his credibility is coming from Errol Spence. And damn sure ain't coming from 140. Ain't coming from no fucking Ndongo. Don't nobody give a fuck about Ndongo. You ask him, motherfucker, okay, if Terrence Crawford is undisputed, who are the other guys he beat? Who did he beat for the first 2 belts he got? Motherfuckers is Googling it right now. Yeah, they're writing in the comments, oh, he fought this guy, he fought that guy. Yeah, that's who he fought. I knew it all along. You're a goddamn liar. You had no fucking idea who the fuck this man fought. At all. At all. You had no idea. All you knew is he fought Ndongo for undisputed. And that is it. Have no idea who he fought for the first 2 belts. Oh, I knew it all along. Yeah, it was me. I knew. Yeah, right. Fuck out of here. Most of you motherfuckers didn't even know he fought pro style for the fucking WBC title. Probably have no fucking clue. Whatever. Anyways. And the reason why y'all don't have no clue, because you didn't buy it. Yeah, it was on pay-per-view. And only 50,000 people bought it. So I will tell you 50,000 people knew. Because they bought it. The rest of y'all motherfuckers had no idea who the fuck it was. Because you were out doing other things. Probably watching UFC. Or some other fucking boxing match or whatever the fuck else was on. Pornhub out this bitch. Whatever. The bottom line is, he gets credibility for that Kell Brook and that Sean Porter fight. Definitely credibility. All right? But majority of Terrence Crawford's credibility, his dependable, his validity, his reasonability, him being good, all that comes from Errol Spence. All of it. All of it comes from Errol Spence. Because if you remove Kell Brook and if you remove Sean Porter, the only thing left is Errol Spence. Oh, man, we believe he beats Errol Spence. Oh, man, he knocks Errol Spence out. I believe it. I believe it. You know, the believability, for credibility, I believe he stops him. It sounds reasonable, since he's knocking out all these fucking people at 140. It's reasonable. It sounds reasonable that he could knock out Errol Spence too. Sounds reasonable. It's convincing. It's convincing. It came from Errol. His credibility came from Errol Spence. All right? Anthony Joshua's credibility came from Deontay Wilder. And then he lost it all to Andy Ruiz. Got it back and lost it all again. Matter of fact, he didn't get it back. Because in the rematch from Andy Ruiz, everybody said he ran. So he didn't get it back. But whatever he did get, he lost that to Usyk. And now don't nobody believe he could beat Usyk at all. When before this, everybody, except for Corey Lee, shout out to my nigga Corey Lee, everybody was picking Anthony Joshua to demolish Usyk because he was just too big. Size matters is what they say. Sus niggas say it for a different reason, but whatever. The bottom line is, everybody was picking, majority of people were picking Anthony Joshua to destroy this man because he was a blown up cruiserweight. This better boxer, Anthony Joshua. All this blah, blah, blah. He's supposed to outbox him and stop him and knock him out and blah, blah, blah. And that didn't happen. He got beat the fuck up. Badly. And motherfucking Corner was waving the towel and shit. Fight should have been fucking stopped. Corner was waving the towel like a motherfucker. Whatever. But all this credibility, all this, you know what I'm saying? I got to use my credibility to avoid this. Credibility. Your credibility is based on who you fought, who you beat, and who refuses to fight you. Yeah. And Errol Spence ain't refusing to fight Terrence Crawford. He's just refusing to fight Terrence Crawford on Crawford's terms. Because Crawford did not earn the right to have it on his terms. All right, you did not. Errol Spence is going to fight you. He already said this year is undisputed. So and he already said before, we're going to see who's ducking who when I get this third belt. That's what he said. While Bud and all these cronies out here doing all this whack-ass talk, Errol Spence is out this motherfucker saying, bro, I told you how to make this fight. I told you how to make it. All right? I told you. You can miss me with all this extra shit. I told you. I told you what it should be, not what it will be, what it should be. You said what it won't. I never gave definitives. I said what it should. You said what it won't be, and had all your cronies running around with this stupid-ass shit. And they still are. So we're going to see who wants what when I get this third belt. And the credibility of a Errol Spence will then, if he is successful, we'll have an Ugas. We'll have a Sean Porter. We'll have a Danny Garcia, a Lamont Peterson, a Kell Brook. Yeah. When Terrence Crawford's credibility will have a Kell Brook after Errol, Sean Porter after Errol. That is all. That's all. That's it. Oh, Jeff Horn, but what about Jeff Horn and Jeff? What about Jeff Horn? Fuck Jeff Horn. He ain't shit. He's never been looked at as one of the best, ever. Even when he beat Manny Pacquiao, he wasn't looked at as one of the best. No one ever said, listen, man, when you're naming the best fighting the best, there it is right here. When Errol Spence when the IBF was going to mandate Errol Spence to fight this man for the vacant IBF title if Kell Brook would have moved up, y'all laughed at Errol. Oh, man, this guy's a school teacher. He's a bum. He's garbage. But when Bud beats him all of a sudden, oh, man, listen, man, he beat Pacquiao. So the fuck what? So. And who else did he beat? Oh, man, that's all that matters. He beat Pacquiao. He's got that one Pacquiao on his resume. One Pacquiao, man. He got one Pacquiao. So? Wrong, what's his name? Syriad or Syriad, whatever the fuck his name is. He got Pacquiao on his resume, too. What'd that do for him? What did that do for him? He got Pacquiao, knocked Pacquiao out cold. What did that do for him? Hey, he's got Pacquiao on his resume. That's different, though. Oh, it was a young Pacquiao. I don't give a fuck if he was a granny Pacquiao. Pacquiao is Pacquiao. I don't give a fuck who he is. So because he was young, his name is different? Well, if you're so young, then why was Lomachenko trying to fight Tank when Tank was young? Tank didn't have a belt. It's different. So having a young Pacquiao on your resume is different than having an older Pacquiao. So having a young Tank would have been fine to have. A Tank with he hadn't fought nobody, hadn't had no belt, nothing, but Lomachenko beating a young Pacquiao, a young Tank means it all? Right. Okay. I know what that is. So miss me with the credibility excuse, all right? Because if you don't have the names on your resume, if you don't have them on there, all right? If you don't have the fighters who avoided you on your resume, avoided you, blatantly ducked you for obvious reasons, and don't be telling me about Danny ducked him, Keith ducked him, Errol ducked him, You're a fucking liar. You're a liar. You telling me Danny didn't duck him? Did he negotiate? Did he try to negotiate with Danny Garcia? No, he told that man $3 million and no fight. Did he try to negotiate with Keith Thurman? No, he said you're asking for too much, you price yourself out, no negotiation, there's no reason talking to you. Did he try to do anything with Ugas? No. So get the fuck out of my face. All right? That's a whole different story from saying a motherfucker did this guy right here ducked you, this guy right here ducked you because, you said his name and they didn't say it back. And that's it. That's just all over it. Get the fuck out of my face. And y'all niggas know y'all full of shit, but you're going to say it anyway. Whatever. BFTB. Shout out to the mighty, Mighty LDBC, and I'm out.